This is the new BMW i7 M70, and it's a little bit like the new Apple iPhone 15 Pro because it has a little bit more performance and slightly sharper looks than the standard i7, but it's a lot more expensive. Now in this video I'm going to tell you all about the upgrades over the standard car, the exterior changes, the interior changes, some chassis changes and motor changes. I'm also going to see what it's like to drive and of course launch it to see how quick it is from 0 to 60 miles an hour. I'm Matt Watson and you're watching CarWow. Buy, sell, CarWow. Let's start off with the most important thing about this car. It's the upgrade to the performance. So let's see what this thing is packing under its huge bonnet. There's a lot of plastic. What's under here? A massive high performance motor or something? Let's have a look. This is what I'd normally do if it was an engine. Oh, that all looks rather dull. And a bit of a waste of space. Anyway, on the front axle, you've got a 258 horsepower electric motor, which is the same motor you have on the standard i7. However, it has a more powerful motor on the rear axle, which puts out 489 horsepower. And combined, when they're working together, those two motors produce 660 horsepower, which is 116 horsepower more than the standard i760. However, it's slightly less horsepower than an AMG EQS 53 and of course a Tesla Model S Plaid, which has over 1,000 horsepower. But let's not worry about that. Let's launch this car to see how quick it is from 0 to 60 miles an hour. BMW says this car will do 0 to 60 in 3.7 seconds. Let's find out the reality with the specialist timing gear. Launch time. Oh, the noise then when it took off. We got a time of 3.3 seconds. That was very quick. But how does it compare to what I've done in a Mercedes-AMG EQS 53? 3.16 seconds. But how does that time compare to the time that I've done in a Tesla Model S Plaid? 2.4 seconds. There you go. To cope with the extra performance over a standard i7, BMW has fitted the M70 with some upgraded M performance brakes. There are other changes to the chassis as well to make this car more fun to drive. For instance, they've retuned the suspension with M Sport suspension, so the air suspension now has smaller chambers to make it slightly stiffer and sportier. Also, they've recalibrated the dampers to make them more responsive and the car more agile. Other changes include rear wheel steering as standard, once again to make the car feel more agile, yet also more stable at speed. They've even fitted some extra bracing in the front between the shock towers to make the car more responsive, and they've also given it active anti-roll bars to stop it leaning so much in bends. Then you also get slightly lighter alloy wheels for less unsprung mass, plus you can upgrade the tyres to sporty tyres. So, what does this all mean to how this car drives? It's time to find out. Right, let's try this car out on a twisty bit of Portuguese country road. So, have those upgrades really enhanced how this i7 drives? Does it turn it into a proper M-like kind of car? Well, I'll give it this. For a big car, it goes around corners pretty well. There's not much lean through the bends thanks to that active anti-roll system. And there's plenty of grip and loads of traction as well from the four-wheel drive system. And of course, loads of performance. But does the setup really encourage me to want to drive this car fast? Not really. I mean, ultimately, you do run out of grip when you push really hard into the corners because it's so heavy. And I really don't think that the changes to the chassis are that significant to really elevate this car into one that feels like a true M-like performance car. The power feels M-like performance-wise, but the handling and chassis upgrades aren't a big enough step, I don't think, over the standard i7. I mean, it's good, it's competent, it does a great job going down the road, but it's not why you'd buy it. You wouldn't go, oh yeah, the handling is so much better, it's so much more sporty and fun. I have to have the M70 version. The only real reason to get this car over a standard i7 is for the added performance, and the performance is utterly brutal. Let me just do this, look. If I hold this up like that, I'm going to accelerate. I mean, look what it does. The way the power comes in is just insane. It's almost neck snapping and it's quite uncomfortable, but it does feel quick. However, is that what you want from your luxury limousine? I'm not sure that it is. You see, in the past with the old M760 Li, that used a 12-cylinder engine, and yes, it was powerful, and yes, it was fast, but it was also smooth and refined. And one of the reasons to have the 12-cylinder engine, it just felt more sophisticated, more expensive, and quieter and smoother than a V8, than most definitely a 6-cylinder diesel, and especially a 4-cylinder diesel. With electric cars though, regardless of the power output, they are all smooth and they're all refined. And actually, when you add more power, they can become a little less comfortable, because as you saw when I just used my microphone as a pendulum, the acceleration is so brutal that unless your driver's really careful, having one of these would make the car just uncomfortable to be a passenger in. And once again, that begs the question, is having more performance in a car like this really necessary? BMW has made some changes to the i7 M70's exterior to help make it seem a little bit more sporty. Most noticeable is the black grille with black surround, and on this particular car, which is fitted with the M Performance Pack, it also has LED surround for the grille, which looks like this at night when you turn it on. What do you think of that? Tell you what, I like this feature though, the recess in the bonnet, just like on an M3 and an M4, the way it leads to the badge. Other changes for the M70, you've got a more aggressive lower front bumper. The radiator part down here is actually slightly smaller than on the standard i7, but you have bigger breathers down the side to smooth airflow. And of course you get the obligatory M badge. Moving down the side, you get 21-inch M alloy wheels, you get your brake calipers gloss black, there's more M badging here, and the fistable M door mirrors. You get black door handles and some M side skirts. At the rear, the main changes are a more sporty rear bumper with diffuser there. You also have the M badging. Oh, and if you have that M Performance Pack, there's also a spoiler on the boot lip. Nice. Here on the inside, the basic design is the same as a normal i7. So you have quite a cool looking dash with this glass effect here. You also have the big widescreen curved high definition infotainment screen, lovely materials, solid build quality, decent storage, but then you have the M upgrades, such as the M Sport steering wheel, which is flat bottomed and has a center marker here on the top that you're going to be driving this on track. You also got M badging and the tricolour there. And you might be wondering, where are the M tricolours off the seat belts? Well, apparently you can have them as an option. What's also optional is carbon fibre here on the dash. What's not is a lovely Alcantara headlining. You get that as standard. Same with the aluminium pedals and the M branded sill kick plates. Bizarrely, they're actually on the inside of the door and aren't covered by it when you shut the door. So you can look down at them and see that the M badge is illuminated when you're driving, though you shouldn't probably do that. A bit dangerous. Anyhow, you get some M dials here, look, with the tricolour yet again, and the car on the surround view camera is the M70, not just a normal i7. It's just a shame that they didn't actually match the colour fully. This car is two-tone, but it's not on the image. Last thing to note, M Sport seats, though they're not overly sporty, they still focus more on comfort. And you can get this new trim combo. So it's leather and expensive feeling wool. You don't have to have that, you can just go for normal full leather, which I'd probably recommend, because while this material is quite interesting, if you're wearing shorts, it's a little bit itchy. There is very little to differentiate the M70 compared to a normal i7 here in the back, apart from the illuminated M sill plates there. Yeah, and you can safely look at them while the car's driving. Also, if you go for the optional wool trim, that will help differentiate it, as will the carbon fibre trim, because then you can see it, look, on the back of the front seat headrests. Other than that though, it's the same as the standard car, so plenty of room, knee room and headroom. All very, very comfortable. And of course, you can spend loads of money to fit lots of luxury options, such as the first class seating system. It's always worth just showing this off. Takes a while, but it's worth it. Let the front seat move out the way. And then my seat is now going to start moving. Oh, the headrest is going up. And then we should have my little footrest. Ah, now I'm comfy. And in the perfect position to enjoy a movie. So I think what I'll do now is just, of course, lower my big rear cinema display. That never ceases to amaze me. Look at it, it's completely crazy. The boot capacity of the M70 version of the i7 is exactly the same as the standard car at 500 litres, which is big enough. However, it's smaller than the boot on an EQS 53. And if you want to see my full in-depth video review of that car, click on the pop-out banner up there, follow the link in the description below. Also, a Tesla Model S Plaid has a boot capacity of 793 litres. Also, the Tesla has 150 litres of extra space underneath the bonnet. And you've already seen what's underneath the bonnet of this car. And that brings on to 5 annoying things about the BMW i7 M70. Normally, BMWs are slightly lighter than their competitors, but not in the case of this i7 M70. It weighs in at 2.7 tonnes. By comparison, a Mercedes AMG EQS 53 is 2.6 tonnes, and a Tesla Model S Plaid 2.2 tonnes. While you can get other trim options other than full leather dead cow everywhere, such as this, you can't actually get a proper full vegan interior on this M70 version of the i7 like you can the standard car. Don't know why, you just can't. This BMW i7 M70 is rather expensive. Starting price of £161,000. Add a few options and it could head into about £180,000. Then there's the small matter of depreciation. Large, expensive luxury BMWs don't hold their value the best. And then there's the added complication of electric cars seeming to devalue and depreciate quicker than ICE cars. What will that mean for the residuals of this? A lot of electric cars do this thing that when you're creeping along, just holding the car back on the brake, they make this noise. But you'd think for something this expensive and supposedly this luxurious, BMW might have solved this problem for the i7 M70. Well, I do like the carbon fibre interior upgrade that you get with the M70. The shiny surface does mean that it's quite reflective, so when it's sunny outside, you get the sun reflecting in it and it can just distract you in the corner of your eyes. It's flickering away. Same can be said of the upgraded stereo with these lovely metal finishes. Looks cool, but quite reflective.
Thankfully, this car has plenty of cool features to help make up for all this.
While you still have to operate the climate control mainly through the touchscreen, which is a bit annoying, BMW have updated their operating system so the functions are easier and more intuitive to use. So, increase fan, I want to mess around with the seat temperature and cooling, let's set the temperature. It's an improvement. The M70's new high-performance rear motor means more top speed compared to the normal i7. That car tops out at 149 miles an hour, whereas this one, 155 miles an hour, which incidentally is quicker than an AMG EQS 53, which has a top speed of a mere 137 miles an hour. Yay, BMW is winning. Okay, so Tesla Model S Plaid can do 200 miles an hour, but shut up. The M70 comes with launch control, and when you engage it, you get this suspenseful noise coming through the car, and the back wheels vibrate to make the car shake to build suspense and send pleasurable vibrations through your bottom. The rear guidance system now has more information on chargers along your route, so you can plan more effectively. So it tells you things like the type of charger and the kilowatts that they can charge at. BMW introduced electrically opening and closing doors for the i7, but now they've gone one better for this M70. So as long as you've got a BMW app on your mobile phone, when you walk towards the car, like this, the door will automatically open for you. You don't even have to press a button. Then when you walk away, smugly again, like that, it senses as you've walked away from the car and then it automatically closes again. Now don't worry if you think that feature could be a bit of a pain, you can disable it if you want to. Finally, I want to see what this i7 M70 is like to drive as a daily. So have the performance upgrades kind of affected its usability? So the first thing I'm going to do is put it into B mode, and that increases the regen braking. In fact, it increases it so much that you can lift off the accelerator and without touching the brake, it'll bring the car to a complete standstill. That will annoy the driver behind you. You probably heard him honking at me there, because it really is quite sudden the way it slows this car down, but it does allow you to drive it just with your right foot. Now what I'd normally also be doing in an M-Lite car is quickly getting out of sports mode and into comfort mode, because in sports mode the suspension would be feeling too firm for driving around town, but in this car it's not. In fact, the suspension deals so well with bumps that even in the sporty setting, it's super comfortable. I am going to put it into a different mode. I'm going to go for expressive, which will put the suspension into comfort mode. And then it's just so relaxing. As for manoeuvrability, it's not too bad. Rear wheel steering does help, but the turning circle is still over 12.3 meters, and a Mercedes EQS AMG's turning circle is under 12 meters. It's about 11.7, so that car is a bit more maneuverable, but it's not terrible. The steering's nice and light, though the one thing about expressive mode you should know about is that it adds this soundtrack to the car when you accelerate and brake, which just sounds a little bit sinister. I actually quite like it. It's weird, but cool at the same time. The expressive mode also automatically puts on the massage seat function, and compared to other massage seats I've experienced in other cars, it's actually pretty good. It feels like you're actually being massaged, which I guess is the whole idea really. Now when you get out onto faster roads, this is no different to the normal i7. It's super quiet, super luxurious, very, very relaxing to travel in. In terms of the efficiency, even though it's the high performance version, it doesn't really affect the range that much. So BMW says range is between about 300 and 340 miles on a full charge. This car is averaging 2.5 miles per kilowatt hour, and when you multiply that up by the battery size, the real world range of this particular car is about 250 miles on a full charge, which is all right. So then, what's my final verdict on the BMW i7 M70? Should you avoid it, consider it, shortlist it, or just go right ahead and buy it? Well, I reckon you should avoid the i7 M70. Now let me explain. This is technically a very good car. It's super luxurious and quick. However, it's quite expensive, and really the only reason you buy this over a standard i7 would be for the added performance. But if it's electric car performance you want, forget about this. Get yourself a Tesla Model S Plaid, because it's cheaper and noticeably quicker. However, what I've just said doesn't apply in the UK, because the Tesla Model S Plaid is only available in left-hand drive, which is pointless when you drive on the left. In that case, shortlist the BMW i7 M70. It's a good car.